pun and running with it. But we are moving into game, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and pop over to that screen, and we can see all the picks and bans coming out. We do have a sub coming out from Denial NA. They're going to pick up Game Hunter here from Denial EU. This is an approved sub by the admin. We're just trying to get you guys as good of a game as possible. You'll be subbing in for Pain Divion in that range carry role. So we'll see if these if we've solved any issues moving in to game number 2 here. Young Master Squiddiiish.
Hopefully so. I mean, that sub out is obviously a step in the right direction if they're having an issue that they can't sort out. And apparently, KO's here. I know they've been doing some work to make sure they had that side of the situation taken care of. So, by all logic and reason and hope in the world, we can get through a game here.
By all that is good and holy, Squiddiiish.
By all that is Pastafarian, let this work.
Thor, Athena, Isis are your bans so far, ladies and gentlemen. First pick will be going the way of Cognitive in this game. We'll see what Denial elects to go with as their final ban. Will we see the Hunbots banned out? Will we see perhaps a Poseidon getting banned out so it doesn't go the way of Stealth? You know, I think it's safe to not ban Poseidon here. It's unlikely they first pick him, so they're maybe thinking more about Sobek. But no, it is going to be the Poseidon. This is going to be... Wow, first pick Xing. Is going to look for Kronos here. So they value him high enough to pick him up over the Sobek, and they're going to leave Bacchus Neath. They're going to leave Sobek Bacchus available. Would not be surprised at all to see Sobek Bacchus picked up here.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting pick there. They banned Poseidon. Xing's like, okay, we'll play that game. I'm going to take Kronos. We'll do it this way. I ain't even mad. But yes, I'm interested to see, since so much has been left on the table and they went directly for Kronos there, what they are going to pick up, because they have every high-profile pick in the universe available. And like you said, Sobek Bacchus looks like it is going to be what they are going to take. And indeed, they're going to grab both of the super high-tier support tanks right out of the gate, just kind of leaving the other guys with table scraps.
Yeah, there's no real surprise there. We'll probably see Guan Yu picked up as well now for the gentleman of Cognitive Gaming here. What they're probably looking to do is they're going to run Hunbots in the jungle. They're going to put Neath in that solo silent, Kronos mid, of course, and then they're just going to look to pick up a couple more gods with tanky presence. From Mana still notably on the table for that side lane role. Odin may be picked up here, but you know, I think that if they pick up this Odin, that you'll definitely see the Vamana pick to go up against the other side lane, and perhaps Mace of the Face is going to secure Hebo here against Kronos once again. Yet another god that has that massive burst to deal with the rewind.
And, of course, we've also seen Mace of the Face's Hebo many, many times already, and they let him have it, so we're going to see if they're going to pay for that decision there. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see... I'm kind of curious if they're going to between Guan Yu. I mean, if they take Odin, it's probably going to be Guan Yu, Ymir, of course, Ymir. With Odin off the table, they don't really have a large variety of choices for their support tanks at this point, so we're pretty much going to have Guan Yu, Ymir. And then it's down to, with Neath off the table, they do have a pretty... I mean, Apollo is probably going to do what they do, but they've got a decent selection of AD carries. I guess they wanted to mix it up a little bit here. But, yeah, we're going to see the Apollo come out. I mean, it's Apollo. He does what Apollo does. Very powerful, ranged AD, ridiculous split-pushing capability, not surprising at all.
Yeah, no big surprise there at all, ladies and gentlemen. We will be moving into the game here shortly. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll throw you over to splash screen for just a moment, and then we will be coming back with continuing coverage of game number 2 here in the matchup between Cognitive Gaming and Denial NA. A couple of subs in, hopefully DC issues sorted, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes to bring you coverage of this game. And gentlemen, and the impatient Squiddiiish, we are going to move into tournament coverage once again. Starting again, Squiddiiish, are you synced up at 14 seconds, sir?
Indeed I am.
All right, I'm just gonna show the viewing audience. This is what KO looks like when he's so peaceful and connected to the game servers here. But no, let's go ahead and get underway, ladies and gentlemen. It is Cognitive versus Denial NA, game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, left side of your screen, they are the blue team. And the bottom of your mini-map, KO, Manny, Pocket, Xing, MLC, Stealth, and Allied. That makes up Cognitive Gaming. They are Neath, Guan Yu, Hunbots, Kronos, and Ymir over on the right side of your screen. They are Denial Esports NA. They are the red team at the top of your mini-map. In order, Pon Pon, Mace to the Face, Rush, Jeff, Hinland, Game Hunter playing the Odin, Hebo, Sobek, Bacchus, and Game Hunter's Apollo will make another ride on the golden chariot through the sky today.
And hey look, it's the 5-man Denial pack coming through the forest with their wards. Sobek leading the charge. And they're going to do the same thing they do every day, Pinky, except they're going to do it on the other side of the map. I guess hoping to not be counter-warded quite so quickly. We can see the counter ward is literally already down. So that ward is going to have an estimated lifespan of up to 18 seconds in favorable conditions. And they put that one far enough away, that one should be okay.
Maybe they're so meta they know that ward's going to be countered and they're going to wait for them to try to attempt to counter it and then collapse on them. No, that's not going to be the case.
You know how happy I would be if something like that actually happened. I would be all different kinds of on board for that. A ward baiting new meta.
You'd be 7 happy, right? Denial 3-handed the gods here as well, so they're looking to take these early XP camps very definitively. We're going to see the teams breaking off. Sobek wants to pick someone up, and he's going to find an Amir. They're going to start piling the damage on top of him. Do they have enough to burst him down before he turns around with that freeze? No, they do not. And now Sobek getting quite low as well. Talu Assault has him quite debuffed. The Chronos, #1, not going to be enough to continue to engage off of here, but pretty split up now is our Odin and our Apollo in pretty deep. They're going to try to make their way out. Odin going to try to run back through behind the tower here. He's going to pick up some aggro from the minions as well, and it's going to be actually a jungle Pon on Odin.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that jungle Odin come out again. A pick, obviously, was mostly designed just to deny any real choice. I don't know if Pon, well, maybe he just doesn't like jungle Odin, but I got the feeling that pick was to deny Cog any real choice of support tanks. But jungle Odin, always entertaining to see. The ganks are always hilarious with his cage of battle and murder death. Makes for some very good setups there. But they do have 2 of their 3 carries capable of jumping right out, and the third one could potentially rewind out of it. So, we'll see. We'll see how effective it is.
Yeah, the question is, will we see that very aggressive Yolodin play, or will we see the more maybe ponderous farming up, looking for some tanky presence before trying to make
any other way to play Odin?
An advantage around the map? According to myself, no, certainly not. But perhaps there is some other thoughts out there in the world. But we don't see him in that solo side lane role, which is a little bit interesting. But, they will elect to have a very, very tanky presence here. Basically, 2 bruisers between the Odin and the Sobek, as well as that Bacchus on support. But Rush taking some early damage. In fact, it looks like here on the Sobek going up against that Neath Amir lane. A lot of CC here.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, how many different names for Odin do you have? Because that's now how Yolodin, Solodin. Basically, an Odin for every occasion,
there's an Odin for all types, man. It takes a village, and it takes really a village of Odins to raise a child.
There you go. And they're doing the same thing that they've always done with Denial, sending their solo to the long lane. Still kind of curious as to what the thought process is there. I'm sure there's some sort of tactical advantage I'm still not seeing. Do you have any idea on that one, Bart?
I don't, but I do have another good Odin name. We forgot Manmoden.
Manmoden, the ultimate Odin.
Manmoden, perhaps. Yeah, that's Odin once you have all 6 slots filled here. But we're going to have some contention from Allied at this blue buff. He's not going to get it. They're going to hand it down. And Allied's going to take actually quite a bit of damage here. Sobek does some nice base damage on his abilities. And Odin throwing in those early Gungears might, in fact, coming out. Now Hebo's going to rotate as well. This is going to be the first one coming out in favor of the Gentleman of Denial. And, in fact, it's going to go to Pon as well, which is extra nice for them. And get him ever closer to that Manmoden Odin. Shing going to go in here onto Mace of the Face, but the River just a little too strong. Now Water Carpet's going to get him out of there.
Yep, Shing had to use his jump as an initiate there, so he's got nothing to follow up with as Mace in the Face casually just floats down the river to safety. We can see over here in the right lane, let's just take a look over there real quick, Guan Yu, played by Matty Pocket, getting a little bit low. Not the world's best support god to try and stand up against a duo push here, especially one like the super shiny Golden Bacchus Apollo combination.
Yeah, they look good.
You gotta be blinded at that point. I don't even know how Guan Yu can still see with how much this must just be reflecting off of them. But he's gonna be getting denied a lot of gold down here as he has just been stuck on his tower since square one, and he's gonna have a tough time getting pushed off against that pair.
Yeah, it's gonna be that I guess the Redskins combination of Bacchus and Apollo there. Or I guess if you're not an American viewer, perhaps the Manchester United colored Bacchus and Apollo there, which I'm sure is going to start a great shitstorm in chat. But it is 1-0 in favor of Denial, ladies and gentlemen. They're up by about 1,000 gold at this point on the back of that first blood as we approach 4 minutes into the game.
And we have, looks like Ymir and Neath. They are actually going to switch lanes around here. seeing that the problems they're having with Matty Pocket being able to hold down a lane against 2 men by himself, they have traded over, and Guan Yu is going to go fight the Crocodile 1v1 in the left lane, as Man Moden might be looking for an early gank on Kronos here, as Kronos just don't know if he saw it coming or just happened to decide to pick that exact moment to walk off and take the mid camp. But not today, Odin.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, an interesting rotation coming out. I mean, that's a strong play, you know. And now we're gonna see Allied actually porting back across the map. No, that's gonna be back to base. That's a recall coming out. So we'll see what they're able to do here. KO versus Game Hunter. Game Hunter playing that Apollo. Of course, he is going to be playing in a fairly high latency, but you know, coming from the European region, you know, players that play a lot in rank like Game Hunter does, you know, they're used to basically playing competitive games under the kind of ping duress. I'm sorry, in the mid lane, I miss a kill there coming out onto Kronos from Mace to the face. Certainly just the normal, ordinary, just damage rotation coming out from the Hebo. In fact, you see him no longer sitting on that ultimate, and he just bursted right through him.
Yeah, just kind of blew his everything. Man Moden came around, got the rotation he was looking for, and they were able to pick up Kronos before he could get any sort of rewind off there. And this is much more of an interesting setup here with the 2v2 and the 1v1, because now we're not going to see Matty just forced onto his tower, as Sobek is dropping into his ultimate over there, probably just to get the mana picked up there. But still, even after this rotation, we're still seeing the right lane from Cog still forced back onto their tower, just because of that Bacchus-Apollo combination being played so very well by Jeff Hidla and Game Hunter.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that Denial has changed their names up from when they were RIP Midas Boots, where there was Jeff Hindla and Jeff Z Hindla on the team, both of them playing the support role. That was that was a great moment in Smite history. But let's talk about the junglers here real quick. Shing sitting at level 6 on this Hunbot, starting to make his way up through the farm. 3,280 gold farming the top for his team, but he is going to be behind that jungle Odin here, being played by Ponpon, who is sitting on the rank 3 boots, as well as a hand and a creeping curse, so ahead by a couple of those abilities there. And that gives him a lot of utility around the map that that at the moment Shing does not have, but looks like Shing's going to be looking for either a cover or a kill in the mid lane. It is just going to be a rotation across and to keep that that Hebo honest.
Yep, and that kill, that early kill he did pick up on MLC Stealth, obviously going to count for most of that difference in the jungle gold there, as well as the fact he did get an assist on that very, well, actually, it wasn't, I guess it wasn't really that early, but the Amir pick, he was there, he participated, he was Odin, he gets experience for that, and that's going to help him keep his lead. And now let's go ahead, just because I haven't been there in a while, and look at how the Guan Yu Sobek lane is doing. Guan Yu actually falling a bit low here, a little below half health. Let's actually flip over, because Odin looks like he's looking for a gank. Or not. Or he could just be counter-jungling. He could also just go ahead and steal their blue buff, while Bacchus is going to make sure, if they had any thoughts about contesting that, they're going to stand back and not do it. Ultimate coming out from Neat, though. He's going to fire that one. Looks over into the right lane? They're jumping on Mace in the face here. Shing unable to finish it off as Bacchus comes in and peels him off, and they turn that one around instantaneously with that quick rotation from right lane. Not only picking up Shing, but also Kronos, who was trying to support him. And again, like usual, Mace to the face, floating away with like 5% HP. He does that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a failed attempt at ganking onto Hebo. Hebo, of course, with that Crushing Wave, brings a lot of escapability as long as he isn't in a CC rotation or is caught out without beads there, and they just were unable to capitalize on it. The Neathol came out trying to secure him for Shing, who was there as well, but they end up turning it around. It's a nice Amir ultimate there. It's going to do enough damage. They're going to pick up Ponpon. Great job there, just popping that off right away. Apollo's going to rotate into the mid lane, but that's not going to be enough to do any kind of damage at this point. And KO's going to happily farm up this side lane here. Probably quite thrilled to be on par with the rest of the game at this point now. 7 minutes, 50 seconds into the game. Denial up 4-1 and working on a 1,500, about 2,000 gold advantage at this point.
Yep, I didn't even see that knee throw hit in the mid. That was weird. I was kind of, I figured that was where it was going, but didn't see anything. They're going to jump in on Hebo here. Mace to the face, trying to get away in this 3v2 encounter. Your mirror wall is not going to be enough to hold him back. The stun is going to come out on Bacchus, though, but Kronos able to pick up that kill with his time rift as Bacchus is coming out. Apollo ults in from the other lane. Kronos dropping so very low. Ally body blocking the Apollo shots for him. The So Beautiful just went a little bit to the slide. Some beautiful juking from MLC, so he is going to be able to scrape away there, trying to do his best Mace to the face impression.
I see what you did there. KO, you know, he's going to continue farming up, and I wonder if he's going to go for this this super aggressive Heartseeker timing. He's probably not going to finish his boots at this point. Like to stay with those rank 2 boots, finish off this Heartseeker, and try to get up to parity. See, both of the mid gods are likely to go Doom Orb in this case, versus the Kronos we saw last game not going the Doom Orb up against the Poseidon. So interesting plays coming out from both of the teams here. And once again, we'll see how these triple Hand of the Gods setup over here on Denial is going to work out for them. We're going to have a Neath ultimate coming out. Let's see if we can follow this bad boy. Oh, it's just too fast. So it's going to come down in this left side lane. Who is it going onto? It's going to be onto that Odin. They're going to summon out under tower, and that is going to be a dead Odin. And now a Hunbot's ultimate comes out late on the back of Sobek, and he's going to get out of there A-okay, but Kronos' rotation may be good. Let's see what you're able to do here, Mace to the face. There's the sun coming out, and now it's starting to put in damage. I'm sure this is stealth, of course, from Cog. Reading the trunk wrong, it was, but yeah, I mean, Hebo starting that rotation as well. He's going to be a bit late, and they are going to pick up both of those kills onto a couple of very tanky targets.
And that was a fantastic turnaround there after the ultimate came out from Odin, and they tore Maddie down to about 10% HP before that Neath ultimate of Destiny came in to save his life, just barely making sure he did not fall. And then those rotations were just beautiful. Fantastic job from Cog there, able to convert what looked like a sure gank into 2 kills, which is going to catch them up a bit. The gold difference is now less than 1,000, but they are still a little bit behind Denial, but just a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. As you mentioned, it's about 800 gold right now, 700 gold. KO though, is getting really good farm. I mean, I keep on kind of harping on him, but he's getting this free farm around the map. He is just a little bit behind where Game Hunter's at though, and that's a little bit scary for them. But he is getting some nice levels. In fact, has that level advantage over the Apollo, if not the farm advantage at this point. Maybe you're gonna run into some trouble here in the jungle. Is Xing waiting in the wings? Is the Odin Palma gonna leap over? He's gonna actually just barely mistime that, but he's gonna get some nice damage out onto Xing. Perhaps slow down this farm. That red buff is sitting on the ground as well. Stun being thrown out, but it's not going to hit anybody from that Kronos, and that should be the end of that engagement.
Yeah, big rotation around from Ymir just to make sure that if there was any issue, the monkey would be covered. Looks like they're just going to kind of leave that red buff on the ground for right now because they had four members of Denial over in the jungle, and they don't want to risk giving up a kill just to pick up a red buff there because Denial is very, very aggressive with their warding. They do know that. They managed to push down this right tower while they were all just kind of in the neighborhood, but they know that Denial's got the jungle vision, and they don't want to pull any risks here with how close this game is right now.
Yeah, indeed. Interesting pickup here. What do you think about Blink Kronos?
Well, I think as Kronos is kind of lacking a real escape, I mean, he's got movement speed. We all know Kronos can get to absolutely pants-on-head ridiculous amounts of movement speed. But that's not really a solid escape. That can't get him out of a really hairy situation. So I've been seeing, we've seen more and more combat blinks come out on mages that are lacking an escape, or even mages that have an escape to give them a second one. So I think that's actually going to be a pretty good decision because stack that with Rewind, and you're going to have an MLC that's pretty much never going to die.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to, I believe, combat Blink out of these Odin rings as they come in. But Odin elected to go with the hand. Creeping Curse isn't going to have that Blink initiation that we see be so dangerous most of the time for those mid lane players. So, we'll see if this ends up, setting him back so far that he's not able to have the damage to get kills, or if he's able to scale well enough off that Doom or pickup to kind of satisfy his damage needs to really convert kills.
I guess we'll have to see as we go on here. And it looks like that in response to Cog flipping around to cover up the loss there, Denial has flipped back around and put Apollo Bacchus in the long lane now, just to push solo against Guan Yu and just take that insane tower killing ability Apollo brings to the table over to the left lane now that they have taken the right tier 1. So we're going to be seeing Matty Pocket again, probably running into a bit of issues, trying to single-handedly hold back this duo. And they are definitely, that's pretty much made it clear Denial's going to be looking to take down this left tower as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah, and that's what you see generally, teams are doing with Apollos these days, especially in the 1v2 situation. They take a tower in the 1v2 if they put them up against it, then they just rotate that lane right over to the next lane and look to start putting pressure on that tower. And they're going to force out a rotation from the Amir as well. Kronos is rotated over, but I think he's going to be a little bit out of sorts here. He's going to throw out the stun. It's going to hit the Bacchus, but he's going to get stunned out as well by the Burp, trying to put out the damage he can. Auto attack's coming in. Intoxicate was used, so Stealth can have a hard time dealing his damage, going to go ahead and ult out of that, but Intoxicate does not get wiped when you ultimate. And now Bacchus may be falling. One more auto attack or a dashing from Maddie. Maddie is going to avoid that water spout for now, but the rotation from Hebo is coming through. Crushing wave, a lot of damage coming on Kronos. No ultimate available. Pon picks up a double kill, and they're going to keep hunting. They want to pick up a Shing here. Will they get the slow from Pon? There's the leap in. He's going to need a Gunger's Might to slow him down. The ultimate is going to be available from Shing, though, and that should be that for now. And the right side lane, Neath and Sobek kind of slapping at each other. Actually, Rush may be falling here. In some trouble from the Neath. No, she's not going to have enough to finish that up. Back to the mid lane where they try to pick up Shing on the Hunbots. Going to Aegis and look to probably leap through a wall here, and he will make it, but Odin's not done just yet. Pon wants to continue in. No, he's going to hand down those side XP camps, and that will be the end of that engagement.
Oh, what is just the amazing race, just a chase going on for like 10 minutes here. They were not letting Shing get away without really working for it. They had like the freaking triathlon going through the jungle down there. And that was a fantastic rotation. Nice turnaround by Denial. What looked like could have been a Kronos rotation and attempted gank on the left lane again. And we've been seeing that over and over this game from both teams. It seems like every attempted gank and every gank setup has ended up with a turnaround, a counter gank, and a kill or two. And this is happening over and over because both teams just have such good vision that they're able to respond and turn these ganks around so rapidly. Because I mean, starting a gank kind of requires that you put yourself a little bit out of position, unless you're ganking someone who is super extended, and they are capitalizing. Each team capitalizing when the other decides to do that.
Yeah, it's it's actually pretty a natural progression if you think about it, with the addition of consumable teleports into the game. Basically, you can respond to ganks, and if you rally strong enough, turn around, tower dives really easily. So, I don't think teams have fully adjusted to the fact now that they can't dive quite as effectively as they could before without those consumable teleports. There's going to be a tower dive, in fact, speaking of them, coming out onto Allied here, but it's a brilliant wall from him that's going to stop that Sobek from coming in, and Allied is going to be A-okay for now. But there's going to be an Eth ultimate coming out of Hebo. It's going to be blocked up by Sobek as a Crushing Wave comes out, and that's going to be the end of that unless Pon wants to go for a ring. He does indeed, and there's a combat pick coming out from the Kronos, so he's not going to have that damage for now, but he will get out of jail free. Allied going to fall in the back of this fight, trying to rotate in, continuing as the Odin. They're going to actually get a pick on his stealth, but he's going to go right into his ultimate, and that's going to be that for now. Intoxicate comes out. It's going to keep him from being able to land these skill shots that well, taking a lot of damage in the jungle is Shing. Shing will fall just like that. Mace to the face, just ripping through everybody with his water cannon damage, and he is going to throw some auto attacks on this tower, and Denial NA is going to continue rolling.
And with all 5 members in the mid lane now and 2 down on Cog, there's literally no way they're going to be able to stop this giant Denial push, and they are just going to swing around and carry this momentum over to the Gold Fury. Now the question, there's one up right now. Matty Pocket does have a rank 2 hog, and there are only rank 1 hogs on Denial. So, I mean, the potential for a steal is there, but it's not going to happen. He's going to go with his ultimate, and KO is going to pick up the Bacchus, and Kronos will pick up the Odin. Both drop very low from Matty Pocket's ultimate and dash combination. They traded a Gold Fury for 2 kills. You got to ask yourself, Denial, is it really worth it at that point? And he is not done. Matty diving a little bit too hard there because he just did not really have his team with him. Might have been a bit of a miscommunication. Nobody really followed him up on that one. He kind of went in by himself, turned around, and saw nobody, and died sad and alone.
Yeah, and a fortunate overplay there from Matty Pocket. Just really wanted to continue setting something up and try to get something going on the back of that momentum, maybe make some space for, this rotation back to the mid lane for the Kronos to try to put some damage on the tower. But, without that rewind available, Kronos a little bit reticent to actually dive into that tower, and so it just ends up being a Guan Yu kind of caught out of position. Going up against, especially up against that Sobek, who has just so much disruption between his charge spray and his tail whip, he ate a lot of tower hits that, he otherwise would not have had to.
Yeah, that was I immediately regret this decision if I have ever seen one. Matty runs in, you saw him immediately turn around and try to get back out. It's like, well, this was bad. Sobek threw him deeper, and like you said, there's just nothing you can do at that point. And that's Sobek's, that's really Sobek's super strong point. He's the disruption tank. We all know this. That's what he does. He takes a god who's already a bit out of position and throws them ridiculously out of position. And that is just so powerful of an ability when you have a situation like that where Guan Yu already looks like he's going to have trouble getting away. And then you throw him into a situation where he's absolutely not going to get away, and there's really no response he can make.
Oh, crushing wave from Mace to the face. It's just the 3-1-4 combination for him. It's good to net a kill onto the Kronos there, who ultimate was available, but wouldn't have time to channel it anyway. And we're going to have a push now coming in from the Nile. Over on the right side, the Sobek is going to fling back Amir. No stun coming out yet. Now he's getting body blocked by a Magic Immune Sobek. A lot of damage going to come outside of this Odin ultimate. They're going to hit both the tanks here. Matty Pocket going to get his ultimate off, but it's not going to be enough to stun out the Apollo, who's going to Aegis it. However, that follow-up from Shing is really, really strong. They get a lot of damage out from that Monkey ultimate, but he's going to be intoxicated and knocked up and burns it down just so very, very fast. Now the toss back onto Matty. Too much damage from this Hebo. No way he gets out of this one alive. All those auto attacks coming in. Oh, no, there is a way, and it's called the dash on out from Guan Yu. Neith throwing in some ineffectual auto attacks. And now Denial will continue this push in. That Odin attack speed is so strong. The early farm of him doing really, really well for Pon right now, and he's putting his team in some great positions with these rings.
That was fun. I am pretty mind-blown. Matty Pocket was able to get out of that. An absolutely beautiful Hunbot's ultimate from Shing, doing so much damage, at least allowing him to pick up one kill. And at that Apollo, who's a pretty powerful and terrifying force. I mean, he's not super farmed this game, but he's more farmed than everybody but Shing on the team. We have a lot of fighting going down here. Bach is going to try to jump out here. The tower is going to finish him off. Shot coming out to get him before he can get away. Wall comes up from Allied, but it's just going to keep Mace in the face protected for right now. The crushing wave is going to come through and pick up Matty Pocket just barely with the end of it. Stun got from Kronos there on Rushed. He's dropping very low. Hebo picked up in the back here by Ymir, and they are going to attempt to run down. Odin manages to get back in the jungle there. And Sobek is too far away at this point. They're not going to be able to catch up and finish that one off. Apollo kind of ulted over just because he wanted to do some stuff. By the time even the chariot got there, the fight was over.
Yeah, I mean, and it all kind of, I mean, you can, I guess, contribute or attribute the fact that one tower goes down there and they get a turnaround to just a fantastic ultimate combination between the Guan Yu and that Sun Wukong, or I'm sorry, the Hunbot on the back of that Odin ultimate to help turn this thing around for Cog. Of course, they do still lose that engagement, there's no question, but they're able to hold a little bit together after that on the back of two very, very well-used ultimates there. Matty Pocket kind of back-to-back with some strong Guan Yu ultimates. Both times goes up. He has another one available. Let's see if he's able to help his team get back into it with this one.
That's one of the fun things about Guan Yu's ult is it comes back so fast. You have it available so often, and it's really powerful if used in the right situations. It's incredibly easy to counter, but if you use it to support your team and you use it while you have other members there that you can combine with, it is just a ridiculously strong ultimate. At least Cog was able to turn that around and pick up the 2 kills on the buckets of Mace to the face. Mace to the face, obviously, with his Doom Orb being the top farm in the lobby, a very big pickup, but one death is not going to be enough to overcome the almost 1,500 gold advantage Mace to the face has over anybody else in this lobby. But it's definitely a start, definitely a high priority target you want to tear down, and now he's going to have to spend a little bit of time getting that Doom Orb stacked back up.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is 14-10 in favor of Denial NA. They are sitting on a near 5,500 gold advantage right now. 20 minutes, or nearly 21 minutes in this game. This is game number 2 in a best-of-3 series. Denial is up 1 game, meaning if they take this one down like they're about to take down Allied here, as this Amir ring comes out, some big ultimate as well. They want to burst down the stake. Will they get it in time? They're dumping every ultimate they have into him. He's still going to channel his damage out and put out quite a bit of it. Matty Pocket now with that turnaround ultimate as well. Apollo going to start channeling his ult and look to get back into the team fight, into the back. They will pick up Hebo, of course, on that chase down. Neith ultimate coming out. Will Shing have what it takes? Stealth is in there, putting up his damage. He's going to go ahead and rotate back out. Shing now trying to get out with his life, but Jeff Hindler wants to prevent that on the Bacchus. His leap is not going to be good. Back in the fight now. Stealth will pick up Pon, and Stealth just starting to really rip through people here as this Kronos has his Doom Worm, has his rank 2 of the Void Blade. I'm sorry, Void Stone. Down will go Rush. Now they're going to be hunting Jeff Hindler. Stun's going to come out. There's a double kill. No, barely going to miss, but he may Dower Dive this. Has so much damage. There's the number 1. Not enough to pick up a kill, but it will get a Gold Fury attempt here for Cognitive, and it looks like a good one.
Just a fantastic amount of damage. Kronos does a pretty phenomenal amount of hurt once he starts to get leveled up there, and even though he hardly has any items built up, I mean, you can see item-wise, he is far behind Mace in the face, but he's already doing just such a disgusting amount of damage with that Doom Orb, and that is going to allow them to pick up the Gold Fury, which is going to make up a lot of the gold deficit here. They're a little under 3K now behind Denial. So this is definitely something they can come back from. You can see the more and more they get into fights, the more and more they're picking up big team fight wins. Just because that COG synergy is really starting to come out here. And the longer this game goes on, if Denial can't find a way to start turning these team fights around, the more it's going to start to swing more and more back toward COG.
Yeah, absolutely. And and looking at the gold now, it's just such a small advantage. Now 2,000 down from about 5,500 on the back of that successful team fight and Gold Fury attempt coming out from the gentlemen of Cognitive Gaming. It's really, really good to see them get back into this game. They've really opened this thing right back up. Let's take a look at Shing's farm. However, 9,700 farm. He is, actually getting closer and closer to catching up to Pawn that had that very early first blood.
Only 400 gold behind now, and not a huge difference for a jungler, considering how fast Bubba allows you to really pick up gold if you can get some effective jungling going down. They just need to make sure they don't let Denial just run rampant in their jungle and deny them these buff camps, which they haven't so far, and I don't expect them to. But as they shrink this lead, they're really they want to press this advantage they've got. If they can win these team fights right now in the situation they're in, they want to get more team fights. They want to push in here, pick up more kills, and do as much as they can to make sure they can get caught back up and stop Denial from gaining any momentum.
And, you got to feel like it all is coming down to Shing right now, as it so often does for Cognitive Gaming, playing in that very, very highly prioritized damage jungling role. And Hunbots has what it takes to turn some of these fights. If he can continue to get these really solid timings on that ultimate and break up these team fights, I think that, there's a clear path for Cognitive to get back into this, and it starts with a successful gank attempt on the right side of the map leading into a Fire Giant.
Absolutely, and I definitely don't want to discount MLC Stealth as well with his Chronos play and just the ridiculous amount of pain he's able to lay out there. I love that ultimate pilot and the Odin ultimate. That was just one of the more silly things I've seen ever. It seems like everybody in the game was like, hey, there's a ring. I'm going to throw my ult in it and just pile everything. And there's just so much damage, but everyone in there was so tanky they just didn't care. So we're just kind of biding our time right now, and Farmer's going to farm. This gold difference is getting smaller and smaller as we wait for the next big engagement, probably, like you said, over on the right side.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point that you made there. I mean, basically what happened in the last team fight was that they dumped every single ultimate, I believe, onto that Amir outside of Intoxicate and Apollo's Chariot. But you'd have Sobek, Hebo, and Odin all putting ultimates in there, trying to pick him up, and it just wasn't enough. And he still did, probably 3,000 damage with that ultimate, because he hit, I think, 4 players with it. So, at the end of the day, a very, very nice job by Allied to survive that. The left side tower going to be pushed in here by Denial. Really nothing that Hunbots can do. Even a rotation from Guan Yu may not be enough. Amir's here as well after porting in. They may look to try to slow down this Hebo, but, with the Sobek and Odin there for Peel, it's just too much tanky presence to really deal with. It's continued, actually. They're going to keep moving in. We're going to see the Furious Monkey bouncing around. Kronos is going to come in. Who are they going to look for? It's going to be that Odin is who they're looking for, but they don't have enough. No, they're going to fall back as Sobek's chaining his ultimate out underneath it. They froze him out in an awkward position, though. They get the slow as well from Rush. He dashes out. Looks like continued initiation. Here's Matty Pocket. Will we have that Hunbot's ultimate coming on the back of it? He's going to leap in. Very, very nice positioning now. The Crushing Wave comes out, not hitting anybody. And so now they're going to go for Hebo. Do they get the stun? They did not. Indeed, over at Smash does some nice damage. Pompon trying to stay in there, do what he can. Intoxicate comes out. Stealth gonna rewind it. He's still gonna have that Intoxicate effect applied, of course. Bacchus stun is very, very nice there. Trying to rotate back in his Shing, but they don't have the tankiness now to continue in, I don't think. And that should be the disengage. But I've been proved wrong before already in this engagement.
And I think I have a name for that. Kronos rewinding through and Intoxicate, you come back with a hangover is what happens. The damage is gone, but the effects are definitely, you're still feeling it. And you still can't really see straight. All right, that was a pretty good engagement there. The Hunbots and Hebo ultimates not doing quite as much as they possibly could have, but a good fight nonetheless. A lot of throwdown there. I think there might have been a little miscommunication on the Spirit Arrow, but the World Weaver target from Neath as she hit the Hebo that was about 12 miles from the middle of the fight by the time that ultimate came in. Although that does have a ton of travel time coming from right lane, so I was probably fired when there was some hope of them actually catching Mace to the face before he ran away. But that was just a good exchange there, good fight, and a couple good pickups that's bringing put the goal difference still pretty low, still pretty negligible, a little under 3,000, still absolutely anybody's game.
Yeah, and meanwhile in right lane, we've had KO and Game Hunter here on the Neath and Apollo, respectively, just pushing creep waves back and forth and getting their farm up. Both teams perfectly happy to let these range carries sit and rice a little bit and stack up their Heartseekers and start building into their Doombringers and whatnot and look to take those fights, although you have to give the edge slightly to Apollo, I think, in terms of that solo kind of just laning versus another range carry role. He can get around that maybe a little bit better than the Neath. Neath, however, is sitting on that consumable teleport, so, she says, I have a global presence as well. I shoot my ult out and then followed up with a teleport. That's pretty strong.
I go where I want, I do what I please. We see everyone kind of congregating the left jungle here. Looks like we might have us a fight going down for the Gold Fury here pretty soon, as it did just pop up, and now clearly, obviously, everybody's here. Everybody wants it. The question is anybody willing to start a fight for it? Looks like right now Denial is going to pull back out into the mid lane here. Matty Pocket still just kind of hanging out by the Gold Fury. Going to counter ward and get vision, which is going to bring Denial running straight back over to make sure nothing happens over here. So it's just both teams kind of juggling around, making sure they get position, making sure they've got vision, and waiting for the opportune moment to strike.
Yeah, very back and forth as range carry still sitting in that right side lane, but I'm going to hover over here in that isometric view and just keep an eye out for these teams. Will Denial now look to get aggressive positioning at the Gold Fury? They will indeed. So where is the response from Cognitive as this Gold Fury starts to get, kind of piled in on? She's starting to get down about 3/4 health range, and I think it's worth taking a ride on the back of Matty Pocket, as he is going to be where the action pops off, certainly here. He is sitting on that Hand of the Gods, rank number 2, and it's going to be a reset from Denial, in fact, as they're not looking like a good time to take that fight.
It's a bit interesting because they had the perfect timing in the world, whether they knew it or not, there, as they started it right as Allied went home, Allied possessing the only Tier 3 Hog for Cognitive Gaming. So they would not have had that. Odin had the Hog advantage there. I mean, Cog had one of their support tanks back at home, just biding his time. But I'm sure they didn't have the vision to know that. So they probably expected Ymir was going to pop out and ruin their day any moment with Matty Pocket there. So probably a good idea to pull the reset and be safe.
Yeah, it makes sense. And now, once again, Denial is going to pressure this Gold Fury. It looks like that's where all of the pressure is going. And they're going to go back and farm up their blue safely. But for now, I mean, it looking like a fairly passive game. Both of the right side lane ADC players are going to be getting their farm up. And actually now, looks like Cognitive is going to elect to rotate KO on this Neath over to the left side of the map and try to 5-man down this Gold Fury.
Looks like that is going to be the game there, which they're really going to have to do because if a serious Gold Fury starts and a serious team fight goes on, you know as well as I do, Apollo is just going to come riding in a blaze of glory, and Neath is just going to be jogging along on the ground, trying to catch up and make her presence known. So are they going to go in on it now as they have all 5 members of COG? Looks like they are. They are going to start trying to pick up the Gold Fury here, and we are surely going to have some initiation coming in from Denial. They're not going to sit back and take this. As Sobek runs in, tries to just lay out a little damage on Matty Packet. The Belch comes out, stuns from Bacchus and Kronos there. As the charge break comes out from Sobek, Apollo dives into the background here. Shing drops his ultimate for Matty Pocket as the ultimate comes out from him as well, dropping a couple stuns. Fight's getting pretty spread out here. Bacchus is dropping a bit low. Shing kind of hung out by the wayside, surrounded by 4 members of Denial. Is he going to be able to escape this one? No, he is not. Odin ultimate is hanging, holding all of Team Cognitive back, and they're unable to do anything. MLC Stealth is forced to rewind as he takes a lot of burst damage, so he can pull back out and prevent his own death here. Allied, everyone on Cognitive dropping very low, and they are just trying to pull out from here, and this is just a massacre as Denial is not going to let them go. They are going to run them down, picking up Matty and Neath before they're able to go anywhere. All 5 members of Denial still alive, still in good health and good spirits. Bacchus is too drunk to realize he's wounded, and they're just going to go in and rail down this Gold Fury.
And all fell apart there for Cognitive. They tried to get that initiation onto the Hebo. The leap in from the Hunbots as well as that Guan Yu, both of their ultimates coming out just as Mace of the Face uses his Crushing Wave. And neither of them effective, and both of those ultimates, ultimately go to waste, unfortunately, there for Cognitive Gaming. Guan Yu was able to get a couple hits off on scattered targets, not enough to put out a silence or a stun, unfortunately for him. Mesa Face certainly the target. He gets out of jail for free there and goes on to wreak havoc in that team fight.
And Pon dropped an absolutely beautiful ultimate as well, with Shing and Matty Packet stuck in the back of that fight by themselves. Odin managed to trap or block the rest of COG to stop them from coming to support, as Shing and Matty were stuck in a 2v4 situation in the back while the Ring of Spears held back his team. And now Denial just walled through in the neighborhood, gonna casually rob COG of their jungle before they all fall back and regroup.
Yeah, Allied trying to chase them off and make sure they aren't able to pick up a Fire Giant on the back of this. And indeed they aren't. They like to pick up that mid tower. And another thing to note here, Denial has all of their Tier 1 towers still standing. So no towers falling so far from them. A lot of gold left on the table here by Cognitive. They may look to put together a push here at some point, at least try to get KO maybe into a split push situation or something to start getting some gold going back in their favor.
And these towers are not even relatively damaged. I mean, the most damaged one is their mid lane tower, which is sitting at a completely comfortable 3/4 HP. So they are really having difficulty. I mean, COG's having a seriously hard time getting this push up. And that's what we saw early on. We saw Matty Pocket stuck in a lane by himself getting pushed down. They traded lanes. Denial just traded right back. they've just been out pushing all game, and even with the two ADCs, Neath and Apollo, going at it in the right lane, the whole battle was taking place right outside of Kog's tier 2 tower, as he was able to outpush Neath relatively easily. So as far as the push department goes, Denial's had the advantage this whole game, and now it's really, really starting to show, as most of the gold advantage they have here, which is about 8,500, is just from the 5-tower advantage they have.
Yeah, that's a really, really great point. We're going to have initiation in the jungle here, it looks like, at any moment. Shing not really feeling that brave anymore, though. I mean, you know, throughout this game, we've seen him, you know, perfectly happy to just go ahead and leap on in and drop an ultimate when a situation like that arises. But this time it looks like they're going to try to mount a defense under the tower. And without a Fire Giant buff, Denial looking like, you know, they are willing to take this fight underneath Cognitive's tower. And I would hope that Cog is happy to oblige him. You see Shing waiting off in the wings or just to the left of your screen, looking to make that initiation. But it's almost guaranteed to start with Matty Pocket, so we'll take a look at him as the Sobek dashes in. He's looking for that ultimate. There's the dasher. Talu Assault out. He's going to get Mez in that Sobek ultimate as well. We'll go ahead and pull right back out. Shing ultimate in the back. They want to pick up Mesa Face. Will they have the damage this time? In the back there is Stealth. Will he get the rewind? He will indeed. Stealth going to rewind out of there, but it's a brilliant Odin ultimate once again. Down goes Matty Pocket. Down goes Game Hunter now pick up a double kill as Shing goes down as well. Stealth trying to put out damage she can. Ally channeling his ultimate. It's not going to be enough to pick up Sobek. Stealth wants to chase it in the back of this fight, but he's going to get chased out by Game Hunter. Odin is still in there taking a lot of damage from KO. He may be in some trouble of his own. Game Hunter will pick up Stealth though, and now is rallying back in. Odin is going to be able to get out of here A-OK, and that's a 3-for-0 trade in favor of Denial, and they were absolutely right in trying to take that fight under tower. In fact, it may be on the back of Cog for being the ones that came out from their tower to try to engage in the jungle there on the back of that Hunbot's ultimate and burst down the Hebo. Bit of overextension leads to their death in the midst of a wonderful ring of spears from Panpan Yulala.
And they're definitely going to pick up a Fire Giant here with 3 members of Cog down and only Allied and KO left alive. This is going to be a pretty free Fire Giant. And I feel like, seriously, I've said this many times, but we could make a top 5 How is Mace the Deface Not Dead montage. After being trapped in Panpan's ultimate, 1 auto attack, 1 support tank auto attack from death, with 2 members of Cog and doesn't die. Like, I don't even understand how he survived that one, but that is the Fire Giant for Denial. All 6 towers down for Cog, and they have not managed to even bring a single one of Denial's towers to half health. This is really, really not a position you want to be in as we creep up on the 10,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Mesa Face is just like a not dying on Hebo specialist. I mean, really, what
he is. If that was if you could market that, if that was a marketable skill, he would be a billionaire at this point.
That's right, yeah. People will be coming to him from far and wide asking him, how do you not die on Hebo so often? And I mean, it just comes down to really great crushing wave timings. Not always looking to use it for damage, relying on his other spells. You see between the number 1 and number 3 able to put out between them about 1,300 damage, which is about what the crushing wave is going to do. And with that crushing wave, with the water cannon being so spammable, he's able to just, you know, kind of just get those off over and over again in team fights, rely on that for damage, and keep that ultimate for finishing off the Kronos, who's such a sticky target to nail down, or to alternatively get out of jail for free.
I definitely don't want to downplay the completely how did that just happen rewind skills of MLC, who's gotten at least 2 of them this game that come to mind, with the smallest bit of health that he definitely should not have survived. But speaking of Mace the Face and his farm right now, which is absolutely ridiculous, I'm sure Cog is very happy to see that he's going to have a run at Tahuti pretty soon. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like Hebo's not doing enough damage right now. And if there's one thing he really needs, it's definitely more damage.
Yeah, you know, and he's basically up an item onto Stealth with the 2 tier 3 abilities that Stealth has elected to go, and that's going to be a Breastplate of Valor for Hebo, giving that cooldown reduction and additional survivability, and perhaps that's how he's been able to get out of some of these fights. But the attack speed steroid on Apollo, both his passive and the Odin, there's just so much. The stun is going to come through from both the Hunbots and the Kronos there. Still trying to take a good fight. Matty Pocket get his ultimate off, and this one may be a good one. In Allied's ultimate, taking a lot of damage there, Jeff Hinland. That's to keep the box out of the fight for now, but Matty Pocket just gets immediately dumped on as he goes in for his ultimate, takes a lot of damage against Mesa Face, but he is going to get out of there for free. No Neath ultimate to follow that up. Maybe going to be going down here as Allied. Indeed, he will, trying to zone them out. Game Hunter just has too much damage at this point with that Fire Giant bump. They're going to be able to regroup and try to come back into this one. Stealth thought about trying to pursue there, but won't have it, and looks like Cognitive is held for now. 36 minutes, 30 seconds into this game, 22-14 in favor of Denial NA. They're also up a game in this best of 3, and now have a 10,000 gold advantage over Cognitive Gaming.
Then there it is. Now Odin also kind of off by himself here in the jungle, looking like Shing just wants to start a fight here. Shing wants to kill something. He just wants blood. So even that knowing the entirety of Denial is like right there, literally right there, he is going to go in on Odin, but then pull back, realizing that Odin is Odin, and there's really nothing he's going to do by himself because he is so ridiculously tanky. Even built as a jungler, even built as a mostly damage-focused bruiser, he's got the shield, the Void Blade, he's got the Onk in there. That's just, I mean, he's so tanky. You don't have the build tanky, he's Odin. And they're going to go in on the tail end of that there while Cog is recovering and just go ahead and cash in their Gold Fury.
Yeah, they get that for free. Taking a fight at the Phoenix, picking up a kill on the Allied. It really forces Denial to just kind of passively farm. I'm sorry, Cognitive to passively farm their side of the map, push the creep waves out a little bit, and just kind of seal themselves for the next push in from Denial, who still has that Fire Giant buff active.
Yep, and now that they are pushing back in with all 5 members coming down the middle, Allied is back up there, so hopefully Cog is not wanting to see a repeat of what just happened at their middle Phoenix, but that is what Denial is aiming for, and now they are coming, they're coming in hard, they're coming in serious. The buff comes out from Odin, and they want this Phoenix. They want to get pushed in there, and here's the initiation. Stop time comes out from Kronos on Odin. Fonfon dropping incredibly low. Hunbot's ultimate comes out, and he just got burnt into non-existence. Jing is going to get teleported into a bad situation by Furious Monkey. There's Mace in the face ultimate comes out, and MLC is going to go down, but Mace not able to escape from this one here. Neither is Allied, Matty Pocket, as they chase down Shing as he is unable to get away, trying to hide in his left Phoenix there, but they are going to nuke 4 members of the team. Mace, of course, obviously is going to get away because he's Mace, and with 4 members down and KO left alive, that is going to be the surrender.
Indeed, and Denial Esports NA will be your champions of the Team Dignitas Smite Cup #1, and the crushing wave in that last team fight probably did 5,000 damage. I believe Mace the Face hit 3 targets there, and in fact, you see him putting out 33k player damage in this game. But before we get too deeply into stats, take a look at the items here. Anything that you see, Squiddiiish, that you would like to point out before we move on?
Nothing super particular here. Everything looks fairly by the numbers. Pretty standard builds. No one went for anything spectacular. No Stack City. Nothing out of the ordinary to really talk about here. Everything is built pretty regular. Odin's Bruiser build, I mean, you can see he's really damage focused. He wanted to be able to get in there with his ultimate and lay down disgusting amounts of damage while being basically unkillable, which did pretty well until that last fight when he realized that you're not quite tanky enough to do it in front of the entire enemy team while a Phoenix is actively dumping on your head. But close. Not quite, but close.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Matty Pocket just wasn't able to get tanky enough in that game. He just kept on dying after initiating. And, you know, and then the Amir, you know, was more that support role with the Midas boots and, you know, the shield and whatnot, but just wasn't able, they just didn't have the tanky presence, I think, to go up against this triple tank role. It just worked out with that pawn in the jungle, getting good enough farm that he was going to be just a mean presence in those team fights, and then the Sobek and Pockets to follow him up. Just the Guan Yu and Amir couldn't stand up to that, and the Hunbot's ultimates just weren't enough really to stop this team.
They were very well placed. They did a lot of help, but yeah, they couldn't ride on one ultimate to turn the tide of a team fight, unfortunately. One thing that is a little interesting to note, once the Nile got a pretty big lead, and they did see that they were having no problems with objectives, and they didn't have any sort of issue with securing those whatsoever because they controlled the map so very well, we could see that both Bacchus and Sobek converted their hands into fists, just for that extra kill security, that additional ability to shut down. Obviously, Sobek is not disruptive enough on his own, so we need to give him an AoE 1-second stun. Bacchus and Sobek, 2 incredibly disruptive characters that are very well placed to take advantage of that Fist of the Gods in teamfight situations.
Yeah, and Mace to the face. I mean, once again, we've talked about it all game. Will we see basically now moving forward, moving into the tournament tomorrow in the NA scene, will we see Mace to the face? Will we see teams ban out Hebo against Nile NA?
I would say it'd probably be a good idea, just because with how much he got focused, being the brunt of Cog's efforts for the entire game, walking away 8-3 and 14 is relatively ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how he does what he does. I don't know how he pulls his slippery shenanigans, but it's definitely not something you want to go up against, so a respect ban for Hebo against Mace would not be a surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, and also big shout outs to Game Hunter on that sub in from the EU scene, from the Nile EU team. Once again, that was an approved substitution by the admin of this tournament. And shout outs to Dignitas Sui here, did a great job with this tournament as well. But Game Hunter just puts up a 7-1 and 11, and he was dominant. It seems to not really matter where you put this guy, what team, what region, what role. As long as it's an Apollo, he is going to take over games.
And he really is the world champion of Apollo. I mean, he's. Every time he gets a hold of that, he goes completely ham on people. And we see it also here with him only dying once. Just because Apollo is so good at getting out of any situation. He's built for that. I mean, Mace does it with Hebo. I would be terrified. I don't think he'd be killable if you put him on Apollo. If you got a Mace on Apollo and he learned to play it. Just because Game Hunter's escaping ability there, you can see a pretty phenomenal amount of damage he was laying down as well, managing to out-damage everybody on the enemy team but MLC Stealth. Because of that Kronos AoE, of course, doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's Zapman, you see in chat there. Yeah, I mean you're no longer the premier Apollo on the planet, sir. You have to go back into your on her hole and snuggle up with there. Game Hunter, I think, has shown
Zap.
his skills.
Yep, sorry Zap, we got Game Hunter now. We found new friends.
Yeah, we have new friends now, and they're cool, and they're from Europe.
Their parents have lots of money.
Their parents have tons of money.
Cool things. They have jet skis and flaming chariots that fly.
Yeah, that is going to conclude our coverage here, guys, for the Team Dignitas Smite Cup #1. Big shout out to all the teams that entered. We had, I think, like 35 teams sign up for this tournament, which is really good turnout. Appreciate everyone that came out. The prizes, I believe, go down to 8th place as well. So it was a great tournament. Had a lot of fun casting it. Thank you, Squiddiiish, for coming by and being a part of it.
Hey, thank you for having me here, Bart. Had a lot of fun shoutcasting this tournament. Definitely something I am excited to do whenever my skills are necessary.
Your skills are always necessary, sir. I guess people can find you once again this weekend for the Tier Monster Code Green tournament. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Tomorrow morning, in fact, we are going to be kicking off the Tier Monster EU tournament. The first one of those, which is going to be starting at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. But if you want to hop on over, I'm not actually sure what exactly the start time is. I want to say it's 10 a.m. Eastern.
Oh.
It should probably ask Drybear.
Man.
I'm not positive. Definitely running this one on EU's schedule, and I'm going to hate my life in the morning, but it's going to be awesome.
I called that tournament Code Monster Tier Green. I told you that, right?
Code Monster Tier Green. Yeah.
Yeah, I did call it that a couple days ago. But, yeah, I mean, Drybear either is a masochist or is not human. If he's getting up at 6:30, I think, 6:30 probably to do that tournament, and then 5:30 to do the Sunday tournament?
Yeah, he's an hour behind me, so it's going to be even an hour earlier for him. But I'm still going to play the It's Harder, My Life is More Difficult card because I am challenged by waking up at 10:30 in the morning for this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see how that one goes.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm going. Looks like I'm going to sneeze here. I can feel it welling up. So,
would you?
I muted the mic successfully there. But yeah, one thing I did want to note before we do pop off here, Squiddiiish, and I let you give your final shout outs is big shout out to Lassus. Not only being good guy Lassus, and I believe KO was playing from his house for that the duration of that final game, but also hitting that wonderful and an amazing threshold of being famous enough on the internet to get a subscriber button on Twitch. So congratulations to you, sir. That means that you guys now can pay $5 or $6 a month or whatever it is to, buy Lassus beer on a reoccurring payment schedule. So Lassus Beer Layaways Fund is active.
And that is absolutely fantastic. I believe he's also the first primarily Smite-focused caster to get that subscriber thing. So not only a big milestone for Lassus, a big milestone for Smite as a whole.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Hopefully paving the way for more and more streamers in Smite to get to that point as well. So congratulations to them. And Squiddiiish, thank you for coming by. And here is, I guess, your opportunity to plug yourself anywhere you go, anywhere you make content. Anything you do for Smite, let us know.
Absolutely. I don't have mod privileges here, so if you want to drop my links in here. I actually just had 9 minutes ago launched the first episode of my new Smite Machinima series, Pantheon. If you want to head over to youtube.com/Squiddiiish and check that out. It's pretty awesome, featuring Smitten, Soapbox, Drybear, Shemby36, if you know him. Got a lot of people working in there in the voice acting. It's completely awesome. Put a lot of time for this. Super excited to bring it to you guys. I'd like to thank all of you for your love in the chat because I'm still relatively new at this shoutcasting thing. I'm learning. Don't hate me. And, of course, Spoon told me that I needed to, before we end up this stream here, check the weather because we do have an impending mighty storm!
Good stuff, man. Thank you for coming by, Squiddiiish. And we're going to close it out on that note, ladies and gentlemen. For Squiddiiish, my name is HiRez Bart, and it's been a pleasure to bring you the coverage of this tournament. You can find all the VODs both on the Team Dignitas and on the Smite game YouTube. I think Squiddiiish also took some game capture as well. So you'll have a lot of opportunities to watch these VODs if you so choose. If you need to find me for any reason, you always can contact me via email or on Twitter, twitter.com/HiRezBart, or you can find my email, bart@HiRezStudios.com. You can find both of those links in the chat there, ladies and gentlemen. Do go watch Pantheon, the latest series, and we have tournaments coming up all this weekend. We have not only the Saturday tournament tomorrow for the NA scene, where you'll see some of your favorite European teams coming over and playing, as well as they are not available to play in the EU tournament, because Sunday's EU tournament is the Gamescom qualifier for that 4th place slot for Gamescom. So big, exciting stuff coming up this weekend, guys. Be sure to tune in. All that coverage will be right over on the Smite Game channel starting tomorrow at noon Eastern. You can find additional information on my Twitter if you so choose. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, bright and early, right here on the Smite Family Networks. Good day!